Hello. For the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been getting to know, actually for the first time, and very much enjoying the Harry Potter series of books by J.K. Rowling, along with the movies. The latest one being Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. So that's number 4 out of the series of the 7 original books. And I understand there was also a stage play that was written and is being adapted, or has been adapted, to an 8th book. So if that carries the saga of Harry Potter further, that'll be very interesting to see where things go after the 19-year gap from the Deathly Hallows into apparently this new creation of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which is going to reveal something new, apparently, about the fate of Cedric Diggory, who was murdered by Lord Voldemort in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. But I've been doing some thinking about how Harry Potter, the Harry Potter series, relates to real life. And I've come to see what a genius J.K. Rowling really was with this series. And I happened to see an interview with her the other day, and also the screenwriter who was responsible for a lot of the Harry Potter movies. And she was expressing, J.K. Rowling was, the fact that she had some doubts about the screenwriter initially, because she said, oh, he's an American. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's just about right. She probably should have some doubts. This is a series that is centered in Great Britain and very much written from a British point of view. And if I were a British writer, I definitely would have some doubts about an American screenwriter. But it turned out that it was a very good collaboration, and she was happy with him and he was happy with her, and they produced a series of great books as far as I can see, and great films. But one of the things that has intrigued me the most about the Harry Potter series is how closely some of the things that we read about in Harry Potter relate to real life. And also I should mention that not only have I enjoyed the books, I very much enjoyed Daniel Radcliffe playing Harry Potter, because I think he was just an outstanding choice. Couldn't have found a better choice probably to play Harry Potter. And also the actors that played Hermione and Ron, Dumbledore, McGonagall, Snape, Sirius Black, Professor Lupin, and all the rest of them. The casting, I thought, for the films was just about perfect. I don't know, and Hagrid. I don't know how they could have cast the movies any better than they did. They just did a fantastic job with the casting. And the music by John Williams, I thought also was fantastic. But there are a lot of real life lessons that you can learn from the Harry Potter series, or at least real life parallels that you can see. And in a previous recording, I discussed a little bit about the basic fears that we all have, because Harry Potter was terribly afraid of the Dementors, and he was particularly afraid of them because of things in his past that were more horrific than anything that his classmates had experienced. And his fear of the Dementors was just off the wall. And so last time I talked about the Harry Potter series, I talked about how we all have our basic fears, and those fears do have a basis. And what I fear may be different from what you fear, but still, just as Harry Potter's friends did, we should try to understand each other's fears and respond to them, because fear is a product of the human condition. It's something that we all experience. We all have things that we fear, and there's usually some kind of rational basis for our fears. And I don't necessarily have to share a fear to understand it. And I think that with regard to the fears of other people, we need to be kind of like Harry Potter's friends, Hermione and Ron, or Hermione, I think is the actual pronunciation, and Ron. And they were understanding and helpful. And that's the way that we should respond to the fears of others, and hopefully they will respond to our fears in a similar fashion. So the story of the Prisoner of Azkaban, which is the 3rd book in the series, that can tell us a lot about our fears and the fears of others and how we should respond to them. But the latest book, the one that I have just finished, and I haven't seen the film version of this yet, but Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. And I see some very interesting real life parallels in this book, as I have all of the books, really. let's talk a little bit about the news media. There is this reporter for the Daily Prophet named Rita Skeeter, and she's always digging up all kinds of negative information about all the good characters in the book. Hagrid, the gamekeeper, Albus Dumbledore, Harry Potter himself, and she reports things the way she wants to report them, in a sensational fashion, in order to get people to believe what she wants them to believe. And in this person of Rita Skeeter, the news reporter for the Daily Prophet, I see American news media in 2016. Because if there's one thing I've learned in the coverage of the 2016 presidential election, is that media in the United States reports, the journalists and the companies that control the journalists report what they want you to know, and they report what they want you to believe, and they absolutely withhold what they don't want you to believe. The mainstream media coverage of the 2016 presidential election has been about like this: Hillary, 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 all the time. There's absolutely no doubt who the mainstream media is supporting. As for the Fox network, we all know what they are. They're a conservative house organ, plain and simple. And so in this person of Rita Skeeter, who's constantly digging up bad information, sensationalizing things, and reporting what she wants people to believe, I very much do see the American news media there. Because I've reached the conclusion in 2016, and I didn't always feel this way, but I've reached the conclusion in 2016 that American news media simply cannot be trusted. That even if the journalists are not at fault, they report what the corporate controllers want people to know, and they withhold what corporate controllers don't want people to know. And some of that withholding had to do with the Bernie Sanders campaign, where he would attract 25 and 35,000 people in stadiums all across the United States, and the mainstream media would be dead silent because they didn't want Bernie Sanders getting anywhere near the nomination. So in this person of Rita Skeeter, this awful reporter for the Daily Prophet, I definitely see American news media there. Now, what about Peter Pettigrew? He's this very evil person who, and actually there's more about him, finding out who he is, in The Prisoner of Azkaban, which is book number 3. He's this extremely evil little man who betrayed Harry Potter's parents, James and Lily, and allowed them to be murdered by Lord Voldemort. And supposedly he was their friend, but he knew that Lord Voldemort was out to kill them, and so he betrayed them and informed Lord Voldemort of their location. And of course Lord Voldemort was very powerful at that time, and he was subsequently able to kill them. And he was one of a group of people who were supposed to be friends of James and Lily Potter, and also through his treachery, Sirius Black was falsely accused, falsely implicated in the murder of James and Lily, and went to Azkaban prison, all through the dishonesty and treachery of this evil little man, Peter Pettigrew. And you know who I see in Peter Pettigrew? This might strike some of you as a little bit funny, but the person that I see with Peter Pettigrew is the office snitch, the office tattletale, the frenemy of yours at work, who extremely friendly to your face, but at the same time they're engaging in all kinds of negative politics and maybe even campaigning against you at work. And definitely those type people do exist. Absolute traitors who will do anything to get themselves ahead, and they will hurt you in the process. So in that I see Peter Pettigrew. What about Cornelius Fudge, the Minister of Magic? Well, once he is confronted with the fact that Lord Voldemort has been allowed to, he has risen to power again, he's come back, he's back in power, Albus Dumbledore, the headmaster of Hogwarts, confronts Fudge and tells him that he needs to take drastic action, and he needs to do it right away. He needs to get rid of the Dementors as prison guards of Azkaban prison. He needs to send envoys to the Giants to create an alliance with them. And there are a lot of things that he needs to do. He needs to take drastic action. He needs to do it right away. And Albus Dumbledore tells him this. But he doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to believe that Voldemort's back. He acts like a typical bureaucrat or like a typical manager that you actually would see in a lot of private businesses. He's confronted with reality that things are going seriously wrong and major action needs to be taken to correct what's going wrong. But he doesn't want to do it. He only wants to protect his little status quo, protect his position, and make sure that he doesn't get himself into trouble as a result of any drastic actions. And he is so much the bureaucrat or the corporate manager in so doing. I can't tell you how many corporate managers I've seen who behave in just that way. And they basically allow the train to wreck because they only want to protect their little provincial interests, and they're not interested in taking the drastic action that needs to be taken. So Cornelius Fudge, in his unwillingness to see the truth and in his unwillingness to take drastic action that needs to be taken in order to fight Lord Voldemort, he's very much like a lot of corporate managers that you see, or in a lot of cases a lot of government bureaucrats. Doesn't want to see the truth because the truth is complicated and the truth demands drastic action, and he doesn't want to do anything drastic. He doesn't want to upset the apple cart. All he wants to do is to protect his little provincial interest, and at least that's where Cornelius Fudge is so far in this book on the Goblet of Fire. But then you also see virtuous people in the Harry Potter series. You see the three, Harry, Hermione, Ron. He's extremely loyal to them. They are extremely loyal to him. Now, I'm sad to tell you that people like that are in minority. They can be found. If you haven't yet found any friends like that, I hope you do. But sadly, they are in the minority. There are people, true friends, who will go to bat for you and who will help you out and who will be extremely loyal. There will never be probably a large number of them. If you say you've got 100 friends, you're probably lying. But hopefully, in your life, you will encounter 2 or 3 or maybe a slightly larger number who will be extremely loyal to you. There are people like that, but they are in the minority. And then there are heroic characters like Albus Dumbledore who know what's going on and is also willing to do what it takes to fight the forces of evil. And Dumbledore is kind of like the ultimate good guy, the ultimate good character. And he's in a position to do good things, to fight Lord Voldemort and to help the students, and he does do those things. And you will find people who do know what's going on, who do know the big picture in a government or in a company, and they want to do the right thing that's going to be the best for everybody. I'm sad to tell you that those people are in the minority, but you do find some of those people here and there. And I hope that in your work environment you do find some virtuous, good people. Sadly, they are in the minority, but they are there. So one thing you see in the Harry Potter series is there are very real parallels to real life. And that's one of the things that makes it so enjoyable to me. So I'm really glad I've gotten to know J.K. Rowling's works with the Harry Potter series. I've read 4 now of the books, and I've seen 2 of the movies. Haven't been able to see the Sorcerer's Stone yet, but I have seen the Chamber of Secrets and have seen the Prisoner of Azkaban, and I look forward to going all the way through this series because I find it extremely enjoyable, and it does have parallels to real life. So J.K. Rowling's work with Harry Potter and also the work of the writers and producers of the Harry Potter series, absolutely outstanding. You can read these books and see the movies and see real life in them, and that's one of the things that makes them so appealing to me. So if you've never gotten to know the boy wizard Harry Potter, I suggest you do. It'll be a good experience for you. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.